Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be making a shorter video making easy peppermint bark that is crunchy, delicious, a bit minty but not too minty, with some candy canes, white and dark chocolate. And I'm going to be tempering the chocolate today, so I'm going to be showing a tutorial on how to temper dark and white chocolate. So to start, I'm going to start boiling some water on the stove in a small saucepan where I can put 2 of my bowls and they'll be able to heat up and create a double boiler. I only need a bit of water for that just to create steam, and the steam is going to be what's heating it up, the chocolate, not the stove itself, and that's going to prevent it from burning. Next up, I'm going to get a pan, line it with a bit of parchment paper for when the chocolate is done being tempered, so I can immediately move it onto it so it can set. So I have a smaller pan, and now I'm just going to put a bit of parchment paper. So sometimes a bit of water or oil just on this will help the parchment stick better. And I'm just going to be having this line so it creases, so when I'm ready to put it in, it sticks perfectly. So I'm just going to spend a bit of time cutting this. So this is what I'd say would be great, because now I have some flaps to pull it out later. So now I'm going to begin tempering my dark chocolate. So I'm going to chop this into some finer chunks and so it melts better. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing the seeding method of tempering chocolate today. So I'm not going to put all of my chocolate, but I'm going to put about like 85 to 90% of my chocolate in this bowl. And I'm going to melt this and heat it to 120. And I'm going to set aside a residual 10-15% to cool it off later, so I can get the right temperature. I'd like to add that you cannot use chocolate chips for this recipe. It really won't work that way because the chocolate chips have added cocoa powder to help prevent them from melting when you make desserts with chocolate chips. So now I'm gonna go heat this to 120 degrees. So now I'm gonna melt this and pay really close attention to it because it heats up really fast. And I'm just constantly gonna stir it. And for myself, I'm just gonna get my water really hot and then turn it off the heat so that it's just residual heat heating up this. Because I wanna make sure that I keep this no hotter than 120, I am taking it off heat every so often. Temper and it doesn't become crunchy and you get fat bloom, but by tempering it, it's basically the same as when it was in the bar. So I just did 120, and now I'm immediately going to dump in my chocolate that is solid still. And now I'm going to remove the thermometer and put it here. And just stir this until it hits below 85, 84 degrees. What also helps is to use a smaller bowl, unlike what I'm doing, which is constant stirring helps. And if you need, you can return it to the heat for a slight moment just to get a bit more heat in it. But you do not want to heat this really hotter. And by using the seeding method, instead of stirring forever to get it to 84-ish degrees, you're able to bring it down really fast by adding extra chocolate. So after just a bit more steam, now I've gotten it really well melted. And now I'm just going to stir until it's below 84 degrees. So now when I go to check the temperature, I'm still getting readings of about 86, 84. So I'm just going to stir for about another minute, and then it should be below that 84 degree mark that I want. Great, so my temperature is about 80. So now in my prepared pan, I'm going to pour in the chocolate that's tempered now. And I like my peppermint bark on the thinner side, so I'm not going to spread this out too much, but my goal is to scrape this out as fast as I can before it hardens in the bowl. So I'm going to set this bowl aside. I don't really need it anymore. And now I'm just going to spread this out into a thinner layer. And this is your preference on how thin you want your peppermint bark. And I'm going to set this aside while I chop up some candy canes now, since we are making peppermint bark, not just melted chocolate. So now I'm going to take this bowl and I'm going to cut up some candy canes. I'm going to do this the fast way. I'm going to throw them on the ground to smash them. So I'm just going to take a handful and smash them on the ground. To because these are different types of chocolate, I'm gonna try my best not to melt them together. So I'm gonna be using a different pan and the opposite side of the cutting board. So I just chopped this the same way I did my other chocolate, and I'm using a bar of white chocolate. And I'm only gonna set aside like 1 square to use for my seeding. So I'm just gonna chop this now. So this is the same process as the dark chocolate really, with tempering, except now I'll be heating it only to 110. Not quite as hot because there's a lot more sugar in this and I don't wanna burn the sugar. And if you prefer to have the white chocolate on the bottom, you can do the same process except the opposite. If you prefer just white chocolate, then just use white chocolate, maybe double it. And if you prefer only dark, do the same. I prefer a little variation. So now I'm gonna take the square that I set aside and just chop it really finely. So while doing this, I'm gonna pay even more attention because this is gonna melt and go faster because it only has to go to 110 degrees. So I'm just gonna turn off my heat and just stir this over the bare steam. And already I can see that it's already clumping together and melting. And my goal here again is to melt this as evenly as possible so that I don't have any chunks that get over 110 and some that are still below. So scraping down this is extremely important. So like before, I'll be taking this off heat to help reach an equilibrium. So now that this is completely melted, I'm gonna check the temperature, and it's about 96. So I'm gonna heat it for about 10 more degrees until I get about 108, 109, 110 range, but no hotter than 110. Just like how you didn't want to get the dark chocolate any hotter than 120. So I just hit 109, I'll take it off and add my seed chocolate. So I'll add this extra chocolate that I set aside, and I'm gonna stir it in and melt it just like I did before and get it below this 84 degree range. All right, so now the temperature is about 83, and now I'm gonna pour this onto my dark chocolate. Because I don't want this to get too cold, otherwise the candy cane won't stick. Now I'm just gonna spread this over on top of my dark chocolate, trying to make an even layer of each. So now that I'm happy with how I have this spread out, I'm just gonna pour on my candy cane. So I got a nice even layer, and now I'm gonna let this sit for about an hour to completely cool. There you have it. This is my tutorial on how to temper dark and white chocolate to make a really nice and crunchy and minty peppermint bark. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Till next time, goodbye.